What is up, everybody? Team Happy and Fit. It's so cool. I get to be right here with my brother in Florida. And honestly, I'm anxiously awaiting my mom because she's bringing us.
Our
mom. I thought you were going to say our sandwiches. It is our mom. Food. So we're very excited to see her. She's bringing it all the way from Illinois, and I cannot even wait, and to see her as well. But it's really fun to be able to do this call. If you are new to Zoom and new to our team, welcome. Once a month, my brother shares some marketing strategies with us. In the very beginning of the year, it's all a 101 intro course. And then throughout the year, he's going to go more in depth. And today is about social media. I'm really excited about it. And then in the next few months to come, he's going to take a diver deep into social media and email and website, all these other things that we experience. I don't know about you guys, but when Instagram and Facebook were down last week, all I could think about was, I'm so grateful you did a call on websites, and I'm so grateful you did a call on email, because what if that would have happened on the last day of the month and so many of you were trying to hit Success Club? Like, that's all I could think about was like, thank goodness that wasn't at the end of the month, but how I'm really grateful I have an email list. I'm really grateful I have a website. So for those of you who are new and you're just getting started, just trust that sharing your journey on social media is enough right now, and we're going to talk about that. But what we want to take you to is owning being a CEO and having a well-oiled machine to where it's professional and it's something that you don't have to ever worry about. Like, you're never going to run out of people. It's never about that. Health and wellness is for life. People need it. This business is incredible. Really, the only way to build it is to get really good at working on yourself. If you can master coach to self, and I'm not saying perfect. That's not what I mean. It's even mastering the struggle, like mastering where you're needing transformation and sharing that transparency. That's what I'm talking about. And then you continue to share your story in that way. That's how your business is going to grow. But if you're setting these goals, you're going to feel defeat. Like, that's for sure going to happen. You have to get really good at working on yourself. I know that some of you went into the coach collab being like, I've had a couple people quit. You know, I'm off track. I've had this. And I'm looking at you from a distance. I'm not necessarily commenting on everyone's thing because you're asking for help from the collab. But I'm like, what is she about to do now? Because where I think the growth happens is the choice you make after the defeat. It's after you get pushed down. It's in the fight where you feel like you can't get back up. Be Rocky, get back up. Like, look at Apollo Creed's face, right, when you get back up. Where that's what I'm looking at in all of you is, okay, I've had tons of that stuff happen over these last 5 years, but my mind was, what's your choice now? Like, every time you got on a Zoom and no one else got on, are you going to do another Zoom? Or are you going to just quit? I just would do another Zoom and it'd be me again, right? Or I would set these goals and not hit them when I wanted to, because when you set goals out there and you're brave enough to do it, seems like everything starts crashing down around you. What are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? Because it gets really good when you develop that grit. So anyway, I'm going to give it to my brother. He's going to talk to us about social media. This is an intro 101. I'm going to track your questions and then I'll tell you the questions.
Yeah, we're going to be right here together. So it's probably the best. That other mute. All right. Everybody can. Are you mute? No, you need to mute your actual computer.
Oh. See, that's what I was worried about. Okay.
Nah, see, that's what I'm trying to tell you. All right, everybody can hear us okay? Everybody thumbs up? Good. All right, cool. I saw a comment on the chat about the website stuff. That's fantastic. I can't remember the name of it, but if you have any questions on that, we're always here to help. So great stuff there.
Maddie, my super low, lame website. You've got to start.
Not at all.
Got to start somewhere,
like,
Maddie.
Like, literally, if it's just an about page, like, that's totally cool as well. All right, so let me get used to how this all works here. All right. So people can still see us.
Yeah, now you can see. Yeah.
All right, how about that?
Perfect.
All right, so if you're looking at it, you're able to see on Julianne's screen, you can be able to see our faces. If you're following on the screen share, you're able to see the deck and what we got here. So this is the third of our series. This is an introduction to social media. As Julianne mentioned prior, each one of these kind of takes an overall look and feel to, or overall look to each kind of channel that we're walking through. So, and they're all tied together. So the first one was website. Last month was email. This month is social media. And next month we go into analytics and kind of how they're all connect and work together. And then we start this series over 201, 202, 203, and so on, where we repeat the cycle. We dig a little bit more into website, email, and then how to grow your followers and social media and stuff like that. So for today, this is mostly just an overview. We're going to talk about a lot of figures and just kind of help some tips and kind of just, kind of get a lay of the land of what, this all means. All right. So there we go. So the agenda for today, we just did a little bit of introduction to overview. We're going to break down the channels. I do about 8 different social media ones here that we're going to talk about today. We're going to wrap it up with knowing what, why, and when to use. And I think that would be some helpful information in there for you as well. All right, there's a little bit about me. We've talked about it before. If you don't know me, I've been in the industry for almost over 20 years now. I've included my LinkedIn photo.
Your photo's so good.
Yeah, easy there, killer. But if you want, add me on LinkedIn. I'm always open to questions and everything else like there, but, again, it's just an open door. All right. So let's do an overview of the channels today. So doing some research for this, I came across an article on the Pew Research. I took all these 8 channels right here, and basically there was an interesting article because what it did is it ranked the social media usage of these 8 in 2018. And there's a little bit of a hint to the colors of the chart of kind of what is what. But I'll tell you what, I was really surprised by what these numbers came to, right? With the exception of YouTube, the video sharing platform that is used by 73% of adults, US adults, no other major social media platform even comes close to Facebook. So I want you guys to think about that for a second. The number 1 social media platform used for 2018 was YouTube, right?
That blew my mind.
First of all, it blows everybody's mind.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, because it's not really a social media. We don't think of it as a traditional social media platform. And you can even look at the rest of the list and kind of see that, there's a few hybrids in here, right? So you have Facebook right up there at the top. Okay, that all makes sense. We all know that one's coming. Instagram right underneath it. Okay, but do you see that gap? Like the 68% of the people versus 35, it's almost every one person using Instagram, 2 people are using Facebook, 2 people are using YouTube, and so on. So to run down the list, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Twitter way down there at the bottom sliding, and then you got WhatsApp making the list. Now, an interesting note is Facebook owns Instagram and WhatsApp, right? So kind of think about, and I get into this a little bit later, but you know what? I'll just wait till we get into it. One of the other stats on this slide first before I bounce from it. Around a third of the US adults, 35%, say they use Instagram. Okay, that's the wrong stat that's on there. But basically what I wanted to say was 2 out of every 3 people that use Facebook use it every day. So not only does it have a high usage rate, it has a high daily usage rate. We'll get this presentation to you guys. I have the link there in the bottom to the full article. Super, super interesting facts that it breaks down. Here's another interesting tip that I kind of wanted to, again, lay a little bit of perspective of how these platforms all rank against one another, right? So this question here was, among teenagers, right? So we're even talking about younger than us. Now, all you guys, I don't want to say all, but I would assume the majority are younger than me. All right, yeah, a heavy nod over here. So we're going to go even younger. We're talking about the new generation. You guys feel like, I think your market, who, uses what. But even looking below, you can say that, wow, YouTube still ranks up there. Okay, that second column, it asks, which one do they use the most often? And YouTube and Snapchat, 1 and 2, right there. So you can see that Facebook, the younger generation, that's going down a little bit. You can see Instagram, okay, it's there. Twitter barely existent. Tumblr, don't even know what that is. I do, I'm being funny, but Reddit, you know what I mean? So you can see that the Snapchat and YouTube, like these are channels that you kind of have to start thinking about. These are new ways to reach your audience, to reach, just new customers. I mean, this call is about growing your business. It's about growing your network. It's about taking the next step. And each one of these calls, we're trying to, help point you in the right direction. So, it's a little bit of food for thought right there. All right, so this is going to apply to all these social media channels. Here's a few tips that I have to just kind of get us started. Number 1 rule, be engaged and interact with your audience, right? So like, comment, share. Can't say it enough. If somebody comments on your post or your video or whatever it is, what we get to, like it, comment back, say, how did you feel about it? Would you like to see more? Did you enjoy this other one? There's just interact with it. It's just like networking at any party. You go to a party, do you want to just stand on the wall and not talk to anybody, or do you want to get out there, shake hands, and do that? So really what I'm trying to say is be engaged, be responsive, and that applies across the board. Dedicate equal time to content creation and growing and expanding your audience. I know that a lot of you have questions about how do I grow my audience? How do I grow my audience? How do I grow my audience? And I will stop you in your tracks and ask you, well, what content are you putting out there? Yeah. Because if you're putting the content out there, the whole build it and they will come, there you go. If you have good content, Julianne mentioned this at the beginning of the call. I'm jumping on my Zoom link, nobody's there. Well, you know what? I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep grinding. I'm going to keep being there. And I'm going to be there for my audience. And eventually the audience will see that.
That's such a good point, because I think so many people focus on the amount of comments and likes that they have. And so they base if they show up or not based on a reaction of other people. But I think when we have the CEO entrepreneurship mind, you have to show up when no one else even maybe notices, because so many people are just watching to see what you do, and you have to be a trailblazer in that way of showing up. And then going back to engage, this is really good, T, is so for example, if you make your Instagram public, you can share anytime someone tags you. Think if you have a challenger that tags you in a workout. You can share that right to your stories, so it doesn't have to just be on Facebook sharing. You can share transformations of challengers and things like that. But it's also very vital that you comment back on everyone else's comments, and just it's basically creating friendship.
Yeah.
Where I think Rachel Hollis, Ed Milet, what they want their audience to feel is that they're a tribe, like they're a community, they're best friends through the internet because they give them their time. Very good.
No, that's fantastic. And I think when we walk through all 8 of these platforms, we're going to have a lot of fun discussion between things like that. Another tip is, and this applies for across all the channels, look into automators. Examples would be like Hootsuite, CoSchedule. These allow you to take the same content and hit all platforms at once. Allows you to do it on a repeated basis. If you want to do it every day, once a week, once a month, however.
It's efficient for time.
100%. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of those questions. This is too much. This is too much time. Remember, you don't have to do all of these. We are just trying to offer you some options that you can kind of have a healthy mix of, like they say with your stocks, like don't put all your eggs in one basket, don't invest in one stock, diversify your portfolio, yada, yada, yada. This is exactly what you're doing, is you're getting new income streams from different channels that we go through. Okay. Last but not least, repurpose content across platforms. And that kind of echoes what that automator is right there. So keeping with our March Madness theme that I kind of have going here, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, by the way, Bradley University.
Yes, you guys.
Yeah,
we went to school where my mom works.
Yeah.
They're playing on Thursday against Michigan State. This is like kind of crazy. Anyway.
Yeah. So that's the dog I have in this hunt. So, all right. So here we go. We're going to start with the top. YouTube is ranked first. 73% of U.S. adults who say that they use YouTube. Background, in case you don't know. It's a video sharing service where users can create their own profile, yada, yada, yada. All right. So examples for some use. Now, I'm going to be honest. This is just whim, information. How-to breakdowns, motivational messages, montage of recent content, weekly vlogs. These are just examples, right? Strengths. Moving images, video and sound, shareable, playable on other platforms. The average length of a YouTube video is about 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
That's good to know.
Right. So that's some kind of helpful perspective to kind of understand, okay, what this medium is, right? We all might use it to watch music videos. We might watch, how do I clean the gutters? How do I bake this recipe? How do I,
Who does that? Who uses on this call YouTube for instructional things? Because I'm thinking in my head, what are our challengers need questions on? How to take measurements. If you make a quick 4-minute video on how to take measurements with your phone, record it from your phone, upload it to YouTube, super easy, super simple. You don't need all this nice equipment. That's what I do I use Zoom for recording. And then even thinking about meal prepping. Maybe it's a 5-step process to how you get your workout in the morning done, right? If you think about your story sequence, you can make a YouTube video out of that. Very good.
100%. So a pro tip, you don't have to feature your face. You don't have to feature your voice. If you're afraid of, I don't want to make a video It's going to be on YouTube and it's me speaking and, okay, you do this, step B, step 2. Take the camera, place it above, the bowl that you're mixing all your ingredients in, or you're making your shake, or, just show it going into there and boom, do it. So there's a lot of free programs out there that you can find that kind of help you create this content. But just finding ways to get on this channel, finding ways to put yourself out there. Again, it's an introduction, but think it out. All right, number 2, 2018 rank, we got Facebook, right? This was second, 68% of US adults, no shocker here. Background, all right. The difference between a normal Facebook profile, and I think this is something we're going to spend a few minutes on, is a Facebook business page, right? Now that's different, right? This isn't your personal, what would you call it? This would be your Think Happy or Fit Happy? Choose Happy. I'm sorry for not nailing that. But that would be a business page, right?
Yes.
Okay, so a lot of benefits come with this. To me, the biggest benefit, analytics, right?
Yeah.
You're able to now see who follows you, who interacts with you, where they're from, how often they do it, really anything you want to know about what they do. You want to jump into the back end of yours or no?
Yeah, we can. So, for example, when I'm on my Choose Happy page, I can see, oh, you're going right to it.
Yeah, you okay with that?
Yeah.
No, keep talking, though. Keep talking.
Oh, I've been really loving to see so much of my audience is from either Wisconsin or California. I love that I can see how many views are getting on my posts, because I think with a regular Facebook, and it takes time to build a like page or a business page, just so you guys know. But I think I really love to see how many views it's getting, because it doesn't always get that same amount of likes, if that makes sense. So go ahead.
Right. So, so what we were talking about here was, just a little bit of the examples of the use, the inspirational quotes, the sharing the value to audience, special offers, videos and stories, some of the strengths. Okay, we all know Facebook. I'm going out on a limb here and say that we're all friends with Facebook. But here's the back end of what I'm talking about. So here's just some basic insights. Now you can export this data, you can put it into a spreadsheet, you can go back to 30 days, 60 days, and so on, and really kind of get a feel for what your followers are doing and how they're interacting. Let's see here.
Or even if you go to a post.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Here's something that we do with Julianne's, is to kind of help benchmark what other people in the industry are doing, right? So this allows you to say, okay, The Rock. I love The Rock, right? I want to be The Rock. You can see how many times they posted this week. He's posted 15 times. You can see the engagement. 3.4 million people engaged with them this week off those 14 posts. So, yeah, we want to aim up there. We got Sean T up there. That's our man right there. So he had 14 times, but only 322K really interacted with.
And I think what's interesting about that is that they're posting at least a couple times a day. Yeah. And that's really it. So again, having a business page, there's a lot more to it. I know we can go into like the analytics. We can go into a lot of these fun things. That will be more for the next time we come around to this. But, you can even go into your publishing tools and look at some of the published posts. Well, I forgot Facebook had some updates to this. But really, it helps tell you, okay, how much did it interact? How much, did they engage with it? Did they click on it? Did they click the link to it? So again, a Facebook business page is very, very helpful. And you don't have to think of it as a business, right? Just think of it as like, a page that kind of gets you a little bit more insight to who you interact with, right? So again, I don't mean to fly through Facebook, just like, take it for granted for it, but really, I think we all are on board with how to use Facebook. All right, Instagram. Ranked number 3, 35% of US adults say they use Instagram. Now, again, to the Facebook, what we were just talking about, turning into a business page, Instagram works the same way. Right. So you can choose one or the other. So Riley, it's never too late. I think it's never too late to get in shape. It's never too late to, right? Like it's never too late to start a business page. It's never too late to do any of those things. But as far as Instagram, you can do the same kind of analytics with it. And I think it's just very helpful to see how many profile views you're getting, how many people are looking at your posts. So maybe if you're really wanting to go dissecting in Instagram over making this business page, you can do the same thing with Instagram.
Yeah. Really, I use the analytics on the business side of Instagram for the audience, right? You know, I know that my posts are going to get, you know, impressions. I know that they're going to reach people. I know that they're getting, you know, clicked and all that, but I really want to know where my audience is from. So as I'm getting new followers, as I'm going out there and, you know, trying to engage and interact and, you know, and grow followers and so on, you know, I want to know where they're coming from. I want to know what my audience is like. So, you know, one of those underlining themes that we're talking about, you know, throughout all these platforms is really just understanding your audience. So again, that's more of an analytics one for next month, but, you know, I just kind of want to, you know, make sure that we're not talking about your personal Instagram here. We're talking about, you know, one that's beefed up a little bit and turned into a professional. It's free to do.
Right. And that stuff, again, is the analytics. And so if you're a little confused next month, what TJ said, we're going to do that. Do you suggest sharing different things on Facebook versus Instagram and Snapchat? I do the same on Facebook and Instagram, but different on Snapchat.
All right. So to answer that, yes and no. I say yes, include the same stuff because you can never have enough, right? So if you have stuff that you do on Snapchat that's different, export those, put them on the other two. I see all the time friends of mine that post on Instagram and their post is literally just a screenshot of their snap that they just took, right? It's a great reminder to say, hey, oh, by the way, I have Snap. Like, check me out here. You know, you can include that in your profiles. You can include follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Snap. So you're already starting to kind of weave a web where they're all connected. So sharing the same content across the board, absolutely yes. Sharing unique content for each one, absolutely yes. Okay, so maybe the short 15-second video series of stories works better in Snap. And it also applies, I guess, to Facebook and Instagram. They're really stepping up their story game. But really, you know, some are just unique for that use. So if you don't do a lot of stories on Instagram or Facebook and you mostly use Snapchat for it, then leave that there. But it's a great opportunity to kind of merge that content across the board.
And Kim said, I have an answer for this. Mm-hmm. Is it better to use stories on Facebook, personal stories, or business page? So I think both, if you can, for sure. But I have more, not follows because it's a personal page, but more friends on my personal page than likes on my business page. So I get more views on my personal page because I've maxed out at the 5,000. I think my business page is at 3,000. So I think that's why it's less. But as I'm growing that page, because I put polls on my like page or business page. I'm trying to change the
I know.
Yeah. We're not trying to call it a like page. We're calling it a business page. And so I've noticed that even using polls, I'm still getting a couple people from that business page that I wouldn't have that are on my personal. I get hardly any views on my CTR. Choose to Rise, there we go, Facebook stories. And if I put things on my personal ones, they get more traction. I think it's just because, totally, it's an extra step. However, my Instagram is connected to my business page. So on my stories of my Instagram, I just swipe up, click the Facebook button, and it goes straight to my business page. And I manually upload, I save from my Instagram to post on my personal page. And the reason it hasn't been an extra big step for me is because during my workouts, I save my videos before I post them and do things for them. So I already have some content. I share way more on Instagram in my stories than I do on my Facebook stories because I don't think people on Facebook are watching stories as much as, I feel like Instagram is mainly stories, Facebook is mainly posts, but now I'm seeing a rise in stories on Facebook, but that's that I show less on my Facebook, if that makes sense.
Hey, Kim, and then when you mean traction, do you just mean views or are you talking clicks?
I think views.
Type. Views and some poll work. Okay. Yeah, you know, I might begin to look at your audience, you know, if you know, how many, you know, the people that follow you personally. No, you, two L's, not L-E. We get you. Oh. And yeah, stay awake out there, guys. This is good. All right, so I would look at your audience. So why your personal one gets a little bit more traction than more a business one is that, you know, personally they know you. They have a connection to you. They might know you in person. They might know you from school. They might know you from work. But they have some sort of connection with you that makes them more engaged to, actually look at the video or watch it or do whatever. Now, a business one, I would ask like, well, maybe they're not engaged. Maybe they don't, it's not that they're not seeing it. It's that maybe they're skipping it. So, I would maybe look at the audience and kind of like, okay, like maybe my audience, I don't know, but that's just where I would start to kind of, chase that rabbit. All right, let's move on. We got a lot to get to today. All right, so Pinterest, number 4. If you haven't used it, it's pretty helpful. This is ranked number 4th with 29% of the U.S. adults who say they use Pinterest. Right under there, just underneath LinkedIn, which are Instagram.
That surprised me, actually.
Exactly.
That really surprised me.
So this is where they kind of start jockeying for position, right? So they all kind of fall in that same boat of, 1 out of every 4 people, maybe, right around there, 1 out of every 3 actually use this. So anyway, a little bit of background on there. It allows you to share boards, allows you to post or pin images and videos to yours and others, and allow you to share those. So these are great for recipes. These are great for inspirational. These are great for, how-tos and just in general tips and tricks. Their strengths, the photos, but the collection of content.
Yeah.
So maybe you have a knack for really cool recipes that are easy to make in under 15 minutes. Or maybe it's a workout that you can do while you're traveling or something like that, and whatever that category might be. And you're out on Pinterest and you're kind of collecting and you're adding them to your bucket or your board and you're putting them on there. It's a great way for other people to follow you because, they don't know how to find that stuff. They don't know where it is, and you're doing all the work. You're bringing it all together. So use that, leverage that, get that to share it out on other platforms. Go to Facebook and say, hey, here's my board. Have you seen this? Instagram and link in there. Hey, check me out on Pinterest.
That's so good. I'm just okay. My mind is going. So I'm not a Pinterester. Eric is. He really likes finding recipes on there. But I was just even thinking, like, what if you made a board of whatever and you share that in your challenge groups? Like, you have all of your content there. Maddie, if you are on there every single day, there's a reason why you love it. For me,
yes,
my brain just doesn't go there. But I feel like people who are your tribe, that's where they're hanging out. And so maybe it's just putting these collections together through your own story and content. I don't know exactly what that means and how, but Google search it, how to do it. But that sounds really amazing to do that and share that with your following and your clients and your coaches and your team and have that board. I think that's great.
So just like you do with your Facebook and Instagram and probably everything else that you have on this board, you probably have a business and a personal. So if you're doing wedding stuff or you're doing planning or you're doing things that you're just kind of like, hey, this is my kind of neat, like little, I'm really into astrology or I'm really into gardening or I'm really into whatever, that maybe you don't really want out. Like that's your own board. Keep that way.
That's a secret board.
Yeah, keep that way. Yeah, don't even mess with all that stuff. Like, don't even accidentally do something. But, create the business one. Create one that's solely focused just on this. Where you log into it and, you're 20 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day. Let's be real. Where you just spend on this and you go, okay, hey, I'm going to go out there and find content, take a few minutes, have my coffee and see what I got and just continue to grow and build it from there. There's a lot of great stuff.
That's such a good idea. Eric always makes meal plans for the team.
Yes. Yeah, it's a perfect example of stuff.
My brain is spinning, you guys.
Right. All right, another popular one. We got number 5 on the list is Snapchat. 27% of the U.S. adults who say they use Snapchat. All right, pretty sure we all know what it is. Popular messaging app, lets you take pictures and videos called Snaps. That disappears, right? So examples for use, how-to, stories, vlogging, strengths, photos and videos. This one is not my wheelhouse. I'm not going to lie. You can ask my wife, like she's a Snapchat queen. Me, I'm just kind of, I don't really, I can't sit here and speak on this with, but I can tell you that if it's just if it's you and this is where your audience lives, then use it, right? If you're taking those photos and you're putting on Instagram, you can still take a photo from your photo reel or your camera reel and put it on Snapchat. It doesn't have to be a live that and then photo, but just keep that content always out there going and keep it growing. And it's just, again, another avenue that you can take advantage of to again, find your tribe. And if that's where it lives and they're finding these short how-to videos or, these kind of short stories that you kind of vlogging your day or, whatever it may be, if it works, that's where it goes. I think, I hate to do this and go back real quick, But on Instagram, I did have a tip here, and I just wanted to make sure I mentioned this like while we get into this. You know what? I shouldn't have done that. All right, so post 2 photos. I'm already here, so why not? Post 2 photos at the same post. I've kind of been ignoring these tips on the side as we were going through this.
Hold on, I've noticed that ever since you told me that last week.
Yes.
This is a good tip. You need to know this tip. I have not done it yet.
Right.
But now I'm like, oh my gosh, that's absolutely right.
Right. So what it does is, you know how you can post multiple photos on Instagram and you swipe over left or whatever and kind of see them. Well, the way the algorithm works, right? If the post is up there, the first photo, and you're scrolling through it and you don't like it, or you don't interact with it or not, and you just go through it, the next time you log into Instagram, chances are that same post is going to be posted again, but with the second photo.
So think about how many times your content will get shown if you add 2 pictures, 3 pictures,
right,
4 pictures. Every time they're going to see your stuff pop up. And I've noticed it. It is hands down a real thing.
Yeah. So, and I that's why I hate jumping backwards in the deck a little bit and going back a few slides.
No, that's a good
and I apologize for that.
Because I've been looking at it now and I'm like, oh my gosh, people I haven't liked their stuff. It's their second photo. And I'm like, dang it. And I like it because I'm like, go away. Yeah.
And while we're on this pit stop, the other tip I had for Instagram was to get out and like photos based on location. I can't stress this enough. You know, a lot of people kind of go, you know, it's a lot. What am I going to get out of it? How does it work? How do I do it? Really, it takes practice. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to go to Instagram and you're going to search for a location. So it might be San Francisco. It might be the Golden Gate Bridge. It might be the park next to the Golden Gate Bridge. It might be the restaurant across the street from the Golden Gate Bridge. Whatever the location is that you're trying to go after, go to that location and look at the recent photos from that location. Now, there's the most popular photos, which are really helpful, but the most recent ones are the ones that you want. Those are the ones that, you know, they might only have 5 likes. They might only have like 10. You know, they're just you and I, and they're average people that are going out there and doing this. Those are the ones you want to go after. And if you spend about 30 seconds and just scroll through there and just like, double tap, double tap, double tap, double tap, double tap, you'll start to get followers. I would say you probably get a follower for every, let's pick a number out of the hat, 25 photos that
Have you guys noticed that when you go to a location, the 2 types that you can, I always go, thank you for bringing this up. Sometimes you do things and it's that simple to say that without thinking someone would need to hear that, because I'm like, that's exactly what I do when I'm going to quote unquote search for people. I always want to find the regular people, not the ones that have thousands of likes. No,
those are for the birds. Like you're just white noise. So, you know, getting to those lesser popular, you know, the average day user would be really good. My pro tip for Pinterest was to use programs like Tailwind, tailwindapp.com, which is scheduling pens. It's, you know, you basically just point it in the right direction for a topic and it goes out there and helps you get things there. Snapchat, take advantage of the swipe up feature.
They have a swipe up feature. I didn't know
include for further content.
Do you need a certain amount of followers?
No.
Wow.
No,
that's a bonus.
Right. So if you want to add a link, like, you know, if you're just saying, hey, I just cooked this awesome recipe. This is really neat. I'm about to do this workout. Here, swipe up to download the recipe now.
Yeah.
And that website that you built a couple months ago that you think is lame now has that dang it, almost nailed it. The recipe, and then, you know, now they can download it and use it from there. So, you know, leveraging that swipe up feature to be able to, you know, extend content and kind of add and go from there. Creating your own filter, it's really a low cost. If you haven't tried it, go out there and look. It doesn't cost anything to kind of see what it would price out. But you can do it for an event. Now, if you're hosting the event, it obviously makes sense. But what if you're attending an event? All right. What if there's like, you know, something where there's thousands and thousands of people. It's a workshop. Maybe it's you know, a gathering that you guys do every year where you guys all get people on stage and you're out there and you're saying this stuff. Well, you know what? Come up with something catchy, something whatever, and put your little filter in there. And it might be like, I'm diamonds all day, and, you know, something that has all diamonds everywhere. But then at the bottom of it, it says @Julianne, you know, right there. So I think, like, you know, again, that's just kind of a short tip there.
Yeah. So for example, if you go to the magnifying glass on Instagram, I don't know if you can see this. It's right there. And you type in a hashtag. So I did move your peaches, but really it means booty. And on there it says top. Sorry, I don't have my actual camera that I usually use.
We're on this camera.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Wait, no, you'd be that camera. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. wait. Oh, my thing is off. There we go. Do you see where it says top and then it says recent? I would rather choose recent, and then those are all the regular. Hey, look, I'm right there. Look, my picture's right there. And so that's how you do that. And we're gonna go more into this kind of stuff later as we go on, but I think just getting used to posting, sharing your story every day. You guys, this can be a lot, but what we're saying is like people say there's not enough people, everyone tells me no. Basically what we're trying to tell you guys is there's so many platforms, there's never not enough people. And so sometimes we resort to that because we just feel like we don't know what to do. But what we're trying to do is just expand your thought process of like, have you thought of Pinterest? Have you thought of this?
All right, yeah, and we're only on number 5. So number 6, LinkedIn, 25% of US adults say this. Now, you're probably thinking, the heck do I have to do with LinkedIn, right? Think about your professional friends that might think Beachbody, like, yeah, I don't have time for that, or I'm too busy, or I'm too, I'm just like, that's not my thing. Oh, okay, great. Being healthy, being happy, that's not your thing? Like, sure, like, then, go be that somewhere else. I don't mind. But LinkedIn is great to be like, hey, here's a morning recipe that I start my day before heading into work. Yeah. This is my short workout. That is the perfect place to put that stuff. Hey, I'm busy. I got kids. How do I do this stuff? How do I, this is the platform for it.
Wow, I had no idea. Like, I really honestly had no idea.
I feel like we're on a commercial. No way. I see it on TV. Yeah.
Like, can you hear me now?
Yeah. So try to think of it in a different way where, again, you already have this content. It's not content of, I'm going to post a photo of a before and after. That's not really the place for this. But if it's for tips on, things that you're doing, or, hey, if you're interested in learning more, check this out. If you're interested in joining this group, come over here. And kind of do that kind of type thing. I can't think of the LinkedIn user, and Lou knows it. And I can't think of his name, but basically what he does is, every day on his way to work, he puts his phone, sets it up on his dashboard, and basically just does an in the car with blah, blah, blah. And while he's sitting in traffic, he's talking about tips. He's talking about how to be healthy, how to do this, how to do his day. Now, he's more geared towards recruiting and things like that, and kind of getting people out there to live a better professional life in that realm. But you can take that idea and switch the content with what works for you. So you can find ways to get, LinkedIn has done a really great job of including video. A long time ago, it was really hard to get a video to autoplay or to be included in the feed of what LinkedIn does. Now they do a really great job. So if you have that content elsewhere, again, this is another opportunity that you can really, help reach a new audience. Let's see what other tips are in there. Provide recipes or helpful tips to target professionals with busy schedules. Referrals. Okay. So
is that the top place for referrals?
It's the most credible. Okay, so your Facebook business page, ask for referrals. Your Instagram page, there's really no place to include referrals. Your YouTube, yeah, you can have people go in there and write comments and kind of rank it, and that really does help, and they can rank your channel. But LinkedIn, they could go on there and say, wow, living a healthy life, or I don't even know what it would be recommended for, being healthy, working out, whatever, being a coach, and they can recommend you, and it can just be a simple, just here's a +1. It doesn't have to be a written out recommendation, but those kind of things add up, and they really help as you continue to get out there and network. They really help speak on your behalf. Number 7, Twitter, way down the list. I was really super surprised about this. 24% of US adults who say they use Twitter. Online news and social networking site where people communicate in short messages called tweets. No shocker there. Examples for use: providing helpful links, inspirational messages, videos and photos, short, real-time trends. Again,
this is perfect for the person who doesn't, like, I'm more of a novel writer, like, where it's like my posts are longer. So Twitter is not my platform where it's like the quick whatever. However, I do like the motivational quotes and things like that. But if you're more of like a concise, get to the point type of person, this could be your platform.
Now, Twitter can be used full, like all these can have this kind of double-edged sword. They could be used full-blown where you're tweeting 24 times a day, you're really engaged, you're really doing this. They can also just be used just for drip marketing your content.
Okay.
Right? It could be just the once a day. So if you had your Instagram photo and you're posting it on there and you're doing this once a day, put it on Twitter. It doesn't have to be a lengthy thing. It doesn't have to be creative. It could be the same caption that you had on Instagram and just put it out there. It's just another audience that might not be seeing it on Instagram, but that might be seeing it on Twitter. So, okay. Some thoughts.
How many of you are on Twitter? I just am like blown away where it's like, I just see you guys Facebook and Instagram where I'm like, oh my gosh, like you guys are all over the place, but like on Twitter. That's awesome.
Keep up with the honest. I love it. All right. So WhatsApp.
We love the honest.
Yeah, we do. I love you, Luca. But all right. WhatsApp. Now this is surprising because I didn't even think it would make the list. And this is 22% of US adults. US adults. If you take this outside of the US, that number shoots up to the 70 and 80%. WhatsApp is huge.
So we launched in the UK and in Canada, but they're going to be launching internationally, probably announcing it this summer, you guys. So just so you guys know that Beachbody's vision is global. Like, so we're like making our way there. So WhatsApp, since it's so popular outside of the United States, this could be a huge platform for when that happens.
Right. So a quick overview of this is think of Facebook Messenger, but its own app. All right.
Yeah.
My wife, she's Ecuadorian. We use this all the time. Like her family, we got family in Argentina, Ecuador, Germany, Italy, California, Florida, Texas. We got family all over. And we're all in the same chat room. And it's amazing because, I mean, I'm kidding you. Like, or not kidding you. There's like 80 people in a chat room. 80. You know how crazy that is? Like somebody makes an inappropriate comment or something like that. It's like, oh no, they didn't. You know, it's mayhem, and it's freaking phenomenal because you know the way that they share videos and share photos. It's really really helpful. But the reason why I really want to bring it up to you guys is because imagine you're bogged down with Facebook, right? You're a user. We're not talking about us. We're talking about the audience that you're going after, and they just feel like, man, I don't have time for Facebook. I got 3 kids. They're pulling out my ankles all day long. I'm really busy. I'm working 2 jobs. I'm working out. I got a lot of things going on right now. I don't have time to spend on Facebook and really engage with a group that's out there that might be a little bit hard to use in theory. I don't think it is, but some people it is. Instagram really isn't a way to organize a group. So you can start to see the limitations of some of these platforms. WhatsApp, think of it as like just chat room only, and start there. And just say, hey, you know what? I have a chat room. Download WhatsApp. It's only on there. You're not going to log into Facebook and run into an ex or do something like that or whatever you're afraid of going out there. It's WhatsApp, and it's our own little community. And it's kind of like a unique thing that's different than everywhere else, and it allows them to, just interact on there. So again, one of the strengths of that, it does not use cellular data. That's what made it so popular from international wise, is that you could make phone calls, text messages, and so on, without being AT&T and T-Mobile and all that other stuff. So, all right.
Yeah, Turner.
What's up? What I missed?
No, she was just saying challenge group check-ins. We can do that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's another option, right? All right. So here's probably what my favorite of today's discussion is going to be. I mean, breaking them down is kind of neat, but here's knowing what, why, and when to use these platforms. Okay. So here's kind of what to use, right? I put them into 3, lenses, if you will. And this is kind of like how to change your perspective of how these platforms work. So you have photos, videos, and text and links, and that might be a link to an article or something like that, right? So I'm sure that you can imagine where everything falls. And you can see that the text and links are going away. We're getting to more rich media. We're getting to more rich content. We're getting better at putting them in our feeds. We're getting better at being able to consume stuff, the stories. You're able to kind of quickly go through all these different things.
Look at that, you guys. The pink one is just empty in that big space.
Right.
Wow.
So you can kind of see where they blend together. And this is by no means definitive, meaning that that you have to think of it in these ways. It's just kind of to help you start and say, you know what? I do spend a lot of time taking photos. What other platforms can I use? Well, if you haven't tried LinkedIn or if you haven't tried Twitter, but you still have a lot of photos, there's a use for it, right? And so on. So again, you'll get this deck after this, and this kind of, again, helps you if you're kind of sitting down and saying, a lot of my content is videos or text links and so on. All right. All right. Why to use, right? Is it inspirational? Is it informational? Is it instructional? So are you trying to just put out a motivational message out there that says, hey, have a great day? Is it informational saying, hey, did you know you can cut all your carbs with this short tip? Is it instructional saying, hey, here's a short recipe to make within 15 minutes to get dinner ready, right? So it makes a little bit of sense. Now, you can see that they all kind of share and they're all kind of grouped in, but I put them kind of skewed where they might fit. So YouTube, right? Instructional and informational. You're not going to, I mean, can you use it for inspiration? Yes. Would I mean, I don't know, why not go interact with them live on Instagram or interact them with your stories or do something else? YouTube is more for, here's this instructions, here's this information, done, right? Okay, so inspirational. You're not going to really put a lot of instructions on Twitter. You're not going to go to Twitter and say, okay, step 1, do this. Okay, then tweet next. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do. No. Are you kidding? No, that just gets lost in all the noise out there. LinkedIn, here's this long instructions of how to do things. So again, can they be used for this? Is there ways to do it? Absolutely. But this kind of helps you, again, if you're kind of sitting down and you're saying, hey, I want to be more inspirational, or I'm informational, or I'm instructional, this is kind of the realms to live in and help you kind of gain your perspective for where each app falls, or each software program. All right, when to use, right? Hourly, daily, I kind of group those together. Weekly or monthly. Now, again, it's not predefined, but if you were to just kind of, take it with a grain of salt of what to use, here we go. So you can see how, Twitter, I put Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter all on the hourly, daily solely, meaning that you can get those Hootsuite, you can get the co-scheduled, you can get these programs, and they can shoot this stuff out there daily. You can schedule it. You can do all this. They also all link together, right? Instagram and Facebook owns Instagram. You can link those two up. Yeah. Julianne was saying her business page, when she does something on one, it automatically shoots right to the other. There you go. Twitter, you can start to look at how to incorporate those as well, and get those onto a daily, hourly kind of type usage, right? Snapchat kind of falls in there too. LinkedIn kind of falls in there too. WhatsApp kind of falls in there too. But they also kind of shade towards that weekly use, meaning, it's not as high active activity as the others, but you can kind of see where they go. And obviously YouTube and Pinterest kind of round it out where it's a little bit more of a long-term, kind of type use. Now, all of them could be hourly, daily. All of them could be monthly. So again, what I wanted to do here was to kind of show you that if you were sitting down and saying, okay, what other options do I have? Do I post hourly? Do I post daily? No. But I do weekly. Okay, that's cool. Well, not only do I do it weekly, but I do it, I do instructional information. I have a lot of recipes. I have a lot of how to do sit-ups. I have a lot of time-saving tips. Okay, that's cool. Well, but I do that a lot and through my photos. So if you kind of start to think those things out and kind of walk through this exercise of which one fits for you, you can kind of start to see, what other avenues are out there that maybe you weren't thinking. And again, they all intertwine. So, okay. What are you thinking?
That was so good.
Yeah.
I could feel his passion.
Yeah.
I loved it. So good. Do you want to? Oh wait, go ahead.
Yeah. So this is just to wrap this up before we kind of get any last minute questions in here. But next month is April 16th, Introduction to Analytics.
It's tough.
And I sense that. And so that one's going to be a little bit more geeky. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be a little bit more behind the scenes of how your website, how your email, how your social media kind of comes together, and how you can kind of start to link those two. If you have a website, you can have Google Analytics. Did you know you can link Facebook with those analytics and your YouTube with those analytics? And anytime somebody searches for you, clicks for you, does anything, it tracks it all. And if we're talking about me getting excited over the analytics of Facebook and Instagram and all this, like wait till we get into the whole thing. With all that. So that wraps up my social media stuff.
That was so good.
I did see some Giannis talk in there.
No, it was so good. We're answering questions. I think the biggest thing that blew me away was YouTube is number one, and how much content we have for YouTube based on our Instagram stories. It's all in the archive. And so if you guys were to go and just even do Instagram weekly, or not Instagram, sorry, YouTube, you could download all your videos. I know you're going to talk more about this like later on, but you go to iMovie, mesh up all your workouts for the week, and put that on YouTube. Or a video I use on YouTube is how to take measurements. I think it has almost 1,000 views.
Wow.
Because I use that with all of my challengers. I use that in all my challenge groups. I use YouTube for all of my how to get started with a challenge pack. And I do all the team calls. But I'm thinking there's so much more to this of meal prepping, just your daily, kind of like a vlog, yes. And it doesn't have to be fancy. And you're already doing it. And so I think for me, what I would suggest for you is out of those platforms, just taking action on one of them for sure. But I think I already have Facebook and Instagram. So YouTube is really on my head or in my mind, because I'm like, #1 video. Oh my goodness. Like, I can repeat all those videos in all my challenge groups. I can send videos to people who want more information instead of using all this text in 4 minutes and 30 something seconds, where it's like, oh my gosh, like an introductory of who I am, what coaching is. There's so many, what is our team like? What would it look like your first week of coaching, first month, like just all these things. And I think it's weird to be on video sometimes, but the more you do it, the less you care about being perfect, and people follow relatable people. So this was excellent. Are there any last questions? My mom is not here yet, so I think I would, if she was here, we're excited to see our mother, but we're really excited for our sandwiches. And it's like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Oh, it's 10 p.m. here. I'm gonna hit end record, you guys.